All right, I have asked my friend Mary Margaret to please read the preamble.
Hi, I'm Mary Margaret, and I'm an alcoholic, and this is the AA preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Thank you.
Mary Margaret, thank you very much. I appreciate your service every week. And I have asked my buddy Big to please read the first paragraph to the forward to the first edition.
All right, my name is Big. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Thanks for letting me read this. This is the first paragraph to the forward to the first edition. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. For them, we hope that these pages will prove so convincingly that no further authentication will be necessary. We think this account of our experience will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantage for all. Thank you.
Boom. Thank you so much, Mr. Big. I really appreciate your service tonight, brother. All right, the following reading is from the forward to the second edition, found at the top of page XX, Roman numeral 20, in the fourth edition. While the internal difficulties of our adolescent period were being ironed out, public acceptance of AA grew by leaps and bounds. For this, there were two principal reasons: the large numbers of recoveries and the reunited homes. These made their impressions everywhere. Of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried, 50% got sober at once and remained that way. 25% sobered up after some relapses. And among the remainder, those who stayed on with AA showed improvement. Other thousands came to a few AA meetings and at first decided they didn't want the program. But great numbers of these, about 2 out of every 3, began to return as time passed. This is the preamble for the Walk the Walk. The Walk the Walk is approximately an hour and 15-minute speaker discussion meeting. This is not a frothy emotional appeal meeting that many experience in AA. This is a solution-based speaker discussion meeting focusing on God, the text, and the 12 steps. If you are not familiar with the solution or you suffer from contempt prior to investigation, we ask that you set aside any prejudice that you may have and allow yourself to open up to the possibility of having a new, possibly very profound experience with God or a higher power of your choice. Each week, a qualified guest speaker will share their experience with the text and the 12-step process. A qualified speaker is one who has been led through the 12 steps as they are in a big book and has had a spiritual awakening as the result of that process. A quick note about profanity. We do not encourage it, nor do we discourage it. Therefore, you may or you may not hear some. We cannot determine that. We only ask that you do your very best to not let it distract you from the message being carried here tonight. And with that, I will hand the meeting over to my brother Derek, who will introduce our first 10-minute speaker tonight.
Derek Alcoholic, what up, my people? What up, y'all? Y5, Y5, Y5. What's going on? So excited to be here tonight. Man, seeing a lot of faces I know, people I love, people I've come to love. Wow, great, great, great. I'm excited. So I spoke briefly with our first speaker, and I was watching a football game at one of the members here in our local group, his house, and and I was kind of getting bothered by the game, and I got this call. And it was a random call, and I called it back, and she answered, and she gave me life just through our conversation. It like brought my energy up, brought my spirit back up. So I know that her message is going to be so great for us. So I will introduce to some, reintroduce to others. Carol.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am an alcoholic. My name is Carol. I'm very happy to be here tonight. Hi, Biddy. I see you. So many people here who I admire and love. My big brother, you know who you are. And just, I'm looking forward to getting to know many more of you. My sobriety date is September 30th, 2019. And it struck me about a month or so ago that I really feel like I'm standing on toddler's legs right now in this program. I had thought when I got here that I probably would be, you know, like a giant at 3 years, because that seems so far away, so much time, 3 years without a drink. Wow. But yeah, I'm just starting out. So I hope I have something to say that makes some sense to you guys. I grew up in the Caribbean and I was exposed to alcohol there at a very early age. And it took sobriety for me to realize that I was very much in love with alcohol, even at a young age. I drank regularly, more than my brothers. Alcohol was available to us in our home. The children drank. I drank when I was doing my homework, and I really didn't get heavily into alcoholic drinking until after I left school and got a job and started happy hour. And happy hours for me turned into happy days, weeks, months, years, and miserable decades. And no matter what they said, someone mentioned before frothy emotional appeals, nothing of that nature could get through to me at all. It really did have to come down to sheer desperation and the threat, not verbalized, but made abundantly clear, that I would lose my son if I continued. And that suggestion to go to AA came from him. I thought he had done some research and he knew what he was talking about. These people can help me control my drinking. So I came into the program, and I really did not want to associate with you all because you're alcoholics, and that means you have no willpower and your morals are based, they just don't exist. And I'm not one of you. And I refused to say that I was an alcoholic for a while. I came to my first couple meetings, I was still drinking in between. But that changed really quickly for me. I've been through 4 rehabs, and nowhere in there was I really given any sense that there was a real program. I thought if I memorized all the stuff you guys put up on the walls and got it down, that was all there was to it. I didn't know that I actually had to do the stuff that was written on the walls. I got the smallest big book I could find that could fit into my pocket, so that I didn't have to carry around any big thing, that anybody could read the words that I was reading over my shoulder. And I took that book and put it inside of another big book to make sure that a bigger book, not the big book, a bigger book, so that nobody could see that I was reading this thing. And of course, because being as precocious as I am, who the heck has got time to read forewords and all that kind of stuff? I don't have time for that. So I went straight to the doctor's opinion. And I thought, wow, they started talking about these people with suffering alcoholic torture, and that their minds and bodies were just as crazy one as the other. And I thought, this is a great book. I want to read this. These people, but they could make a movie out of this stuff. These people gotta be really whacked. And I wanted to read about these people. And then I realized that, and it took me up until just about this year, earlier this year, to realize that when I went back and looked at that chapter, that the book, that it starts out talking to me about AA, the organization, and then it's changed into that group of sick people. And I started feeling sorry for those sick people. And in short order, the book was talking about we and us and you, the reader. And what? But at this point, I wanted to read more because I was feeling sorry for those people, and I thought they needed some help. And then they started they started describing these people and the things that they experience and how they feel. And it just slapped me in the face. And I thought, that's what I've been feeling all along, but I've never put voice to it. I've never had the words. I never talked to anybody about it. So I never tried to form the words. But if I did, those would be the words I would choose to describe what I was feeling. And they had me hooked at that point. So I continued reading and I kept going to meetings. And ultimately, I was able to realize that I was too an alcoholic, just based on the book. The literature convinced me that I was an alcoholic. And that's how I was able to ultimately admit that that was me. That along with the fellowship, the love that I saw in the rooms, that gave me incentive to keep coming back, because I saw those people that alcoholism was actually a disease. I was able to accept that finally, because I thought that was just a made up excuse that people had. And while I was reading the book one day on heading to the club for a meeting, I just felt something weird happen. I just was overwhelmed with this intense feeling. And I put the book down in my lap and I looked up and I couldn't see the top of the bus that I was in. It was gone. All I could see was clouds, blue sky, and I felt the intense presence of God. And I had never felt anything like that before or since. And I knew that it was God. There was nothing else that it could have been. It was just a holy presence. I cannot give you words to describe what it was like. But when I got off that bus, I could not feel the ground under my feet. I stumbled at one point because I could not feel the ground, and I was walking on an uneven surface. And I had to start looking down to check to make sure where I was putting my feet next. So for me, growing up, my relatives always thought that I would grow up to be a nun, because I was always talking about God. So for me, the fit in this program where God is introduced, I had no problem with that whatsoever. What I did not have before was a real knowledge of the presence of God, a reality. I thought it was something that was just passed on from some fable from generations or something. I couldn't really trust that. They don't really know what they're doing. After all, my mother was a nut anyway. How could she treat her children like that? Why would she beat my brother so badly? I had to become the mother of the house. I couldn't trust anything she said. Her guidance was just how should I say, it was questionable. Okay. So I everything that she had said to me before was just, I couldn't follow. But ultimately, and it also took me a long time to realize that what was unmanageable about my life, I thought it wasn't unmanageable because I still had a roof over my head, material things, and I really didn't have a lot, but I still thought it was manageable in my chaotic head. But it was the chaos in my head. It was the thoughts that wouldn't stop. It was the barrage of negativity that was going on in there. There was so much fear and so much anger about everything that had happened in my life up to that point that I was still carrying with me. But the program and the utilization of the steps and the introduction of the higher power has been able to change all of that. And it was so necessary for me to understand that this broken brain can't fix this broken brain, that I need help from outside. They tell me that I need a friend and a flashlight when I go up there. And I have found that to be so true. Even today, at 37 months of sobriety, I still have to run my thoughts past people. I'm sorry, I do. Because the pathways that are built in there are still screwed up because they were built in concrete. I mean, I've been drinking for dang near 50 years. Come on now. I have to take a jackhammer to that thing. and break that up and try to form some new pathways. So I'm really happy for the fact that prayer and meditation is part of my life now. And that is so helpful to me. And let's see, I know I'm running out of time, but the third step, making a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God, that I could say that I do that, and I could think, at some point that that's what I've done. But for me, step 3 is something I have to do all the time. All the time. Every time fear pops up, I have to remember I have to do step 3. God is here. God is active. God is alive. I know God is alive because I see him moving in my life, from things like getting somebody to bring me a tube of Abreva 2 days before a cold sore breaks out for no apparent reason whatsoever, to me needing funds for an emergency move and having someone whom I have not communicated in a long time tell me God told them to send me the money and they had no idea that I needed it. I know God is here, and it's true that he has taken, he runs my life. I mean, he knows what's coming up next. And I believe that he sets that table before me. He goes ahead of me, and he prepares for what is coming down the pike. And it's up to me to put the faith and the trust in him to see, and to understand that even if things don't happen my way, it's going to be good for me ultimately, because he's got my best interests at heart. And today I try to live mostly try to remember that and keep that in mind, because he has always been there. He will always be there for me. And I trust that so implicitly. I just keep going back to it because she keeps showing up and doing stuff even when I don't ask him. I mean, he's my dad, man. He's got my back. He looks out for me. And so I am just so happy to be here and thrilled to be among you guys. I love you all very much. God bless each and every one of you. And I hope you guys have a great, great evening. I'm looking forward to the rest of this.
Oh, man. Boom. That was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This broken brain can't fix the broken brain. I love that. Oh, my God. God takes care of it all. What a beautiful message, man. That was absolutely fantastic, Carol. Thank you so much. All right, AA has a 7th tradition. Mike L., please pay close attention to this, okay? AA has a 7th tradition, which states we are fully supporting declining outside contributions, which means AA relies solely on the contributions of its members. We are not currently accepting contributions at the Walk the Walk, but we encourage you to contribute at any open meeting you attend or online at aa.org. How do you do, buddy? They do all right? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you, bud. All right, we have 2 other meetings throughout the week. On Tuesday, the Big Book Revealed. It is a big book step study, which is led by my buddy Bobby. And on Thursday, the Big Book Trudge, where Bobby and I share the lead together. Bobby also has a Facebook page and a website dedicated to the Big Book Revealed and the Big Book Trudge. There you will find links to other sources as well as links to recorded meetings. I will drop these links for you and the passwords in the chat right now. If you guys see Derek stretching and Mike stretching, I'm going to let you know what's going on here in 2 seconds. Here comes the links. Boom and boom. There we go. Okay, guys, it is now time for Look at Biddy. Everybody's getting warmed up. Guys, listen, here it is. It's time for the Big Book Thumper Stumper. Each week, I will read a sentence or 2 from the first 164 pages, including the doctor's opinion. I will leave a particular part blank. The first person to write in the chat box the words or words left out wins and becomes this week's Big Book Thumper Stumper champion. Okay, here's the deal. The object here is to beat Derek. Do not let Derek win this deal, okay? That's the object here. Here are the rules. Spelling does not count, okay? Spelling does not count, but if the word is book and you write magazine, you missed it by a mile, no good. It's got to be close to book, okay? The other thing is when you put the word in the chat box, it's got to be in an open chat for everybody to see it, okay? No DMs on that one. And the third thing is that sometimes when people do it so fast, they come in simultaneously. And on your end, it may look like Big came in first, but on my end, Stephanie came in first. So we're going to go by the official chat box, okay? The official chat box is my chat box. So whoever comes in first on my chat box wins. And if you need a screenshot of it because you're questioning it, that is not a problem. I will take a screenshot and I will send it off to you. I can't wait. I'm dying for the day that someone says, Eric, I'm going to call BS on that one. Send me a screenshot. That's going to be awesome. I hope somebody does that. Maybe tonight. All right. Are we ready? All right. Here we go. Now, this one comes from Bill's story. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. Bill's story. All right. And I'm going to read the whole paragraph. It's not a huge paragraph, but it's a very powerful paragraph. So I think it's worthy of reading. All right. Here we go. No words can tell of the loneliness and despair I found in that bitter morass of self-pity. Quicksand stretched around me in all directions. I had met my match. I had been overwhelmed. Alcohol was my blank. Boom, 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 boom. Look at all those coming in here. I love it. Let's see here. First on my end, let's see. Derek got it. No, wait, on your, wait, Big, are you in there? Did you beat him? Let me go back. Oh man, we're gonna have to do screenshots on this. Where is Big? All right, on my end, we've got Derek, then we got Pop Tot, and then we got Mr. Big. Then Carol, Monica. Man, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that you guys knew this. Boom. Congratulations, Derek. You know the crown is coming your way. I know you're going to wear it with pride. You're going to gloat. You're going to brag. And you're going to have to defend it next week. All right. All right. What do we got? So I'm seeing other. Do we have a dead heat here? Dead heat, Pop-Tart. I know I'd like to throw up the Pop-Tart, but on my end, if we could redo it. Congratulations, Derek. Well done. All right, guys. It's time to introduce the speaker. I've only heard this woman share in a meeting that her husband shared in, which was totally complete fire. It was awesome. If you haven't heard Mr. Big share, you need to get out there and find out where he is speaking and listen to the man because he drops a lot of knowledge. He is absolutely fantastic. With that said, I am 100% confident that he would not be married to or have a partner that isn't also fire. So I know that the message tonight is going to be spot on, and I am so excited to hear it. So with that, I'm going to shut up and turn the meeting over to Stephanie. The floor is yours.
Good evening, family. My name is Stephanie, and I am a recovered alcoholic. I have a home group. It is the vast amount of fun group because it is. And if you would have asked me that when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I would have told you to get bent because I didn't think it was a whole lot of fun because I rolled in here with that desperation that Carol talked about. Carol, thank you so much for your lead today. I really appreciate you and your service. Thank you so much. I have a sobriety date. It is 5/24/16. I have a sponsor who knows she's my sponsor, and I am taking women through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's an absolute joy and pleasure and privilege to do so, right? It really is. And again, if you would have told me that, I would have told you to get bent too, because I didn't show up for you. Didn't show up to Alcoholics Anonymous for you at all, right? So again, thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much. Walk the line, right? Or walk the walk, excuse me, walk the line, walk the walk for asking me to be of service tonight, because it is a privilege and a pleasure to be of service for Alcoholics Anonymous, because like my friend Betty likes to say, I am absolutely in love with Alcoholics Anonymous, because I'm here to tell you Alcoholics Anonymous saved my life, right? Saved my life. So to those of you who are new, right? Welcome. For those of you that are not, welcome, right? It's such a privilege and a pleasure to be here. It's a joy. Thank you all for showing up. You know, my heart is full tonight. I look around these squares and you're my family. My family is here tonight. The people that I trudge this road of happy destiny with, right? That know what I'm talking about, that solution, that common solution that holds us together, not that common peril. We don't stick around for that. It's that common solution. So I'm grateful for that today. And again, I didn't have this verbiage. I didn't have this knowledge. I didn't know. Right? And I'm so grateful for the rooms Alcoholics Anonymous for giving me the knowledge of who I am today. Right? For who I am, my truth, who I am. I am an alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic. And I don't share that to show off and sound Boatstein or whatever. It's in the book, right? It's in the book. Because guess what, guys? I did the steps to Alcoholics Anonymous. I did 1 through 12. And guess what happened to me? I had a spiritual experience as a result of these steps, a personality change, right? That, yes, Mike, that has rocketed me into the 4th dimension of existence. Because guess what? I get to see the world from a different angle today. I get a different point of view today, a God's eye view. And again, if you would have told me that I was going to be saying God's eye view, or I was going to be talking about God to you today, without prickling, without the back of my hair on my neck standing up, I would have told you to get bent, because I didn't show up for God, not your God, not my God, nobody's God. I wanted to get sober, and I didn't even know if I really wanted to do that. My back was against the wall. You know what? I'll tell you a little bit how I was there, right? I am so grateful, you guys, that causes and conditions don't make me an alcoholic, right? I thought they did. I thought they did. I thought causes and conditions, because I was confused. Because growing up, I couldn't have been more loved. I couldn't have been more loved, right? My parents loved me to a fault, right? Growing up. So I was confused, right? Why? Right? Because at the very first opportunity, you guys, you know what? I picked up late for some of us, right? I was 16 when I picked up my first drink of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I was ready to drink. I was ready to drink. I was restless, irritable, and discontent from the right? Wherever I was, I wanted to be somewhere else. I really did. And I didn't know why, right? I didn't know why. I was uncomfortable in my own skin, right? And I didn't have this verbiage, right? I just didn't feel right. But I picked up that drink, you guys, and I'm here to tell you, I had a spiritual experience, right? Something suddenly happened to me. That spiritus that they talk about, right? That's spiritus, right? And that happened to me. And then something else happened to me, because I'm an alcoholic, right? I'm an alcoholic. I had an abnormal reaction to alcohol, because guess what? From my first consumption of alcohol, my first blackout occurred, and that's how it looked from then on, guys. That's how it looked from then on. I could not control and enjoy my drinking. I could not control and enjoy my drinking, right? And once I started drinking, I could not stop. Once I started drinking, maybe I could stop here and there, because my consequences, kids, were huge. I'm not a lady when I drink. I black out. It's all or nothing. It's all in, guys. And I'll do anything and everything, right? Please. So I am grateful to know what is wrong with me, because I didn't know what was wrong with me, right? I cannot control and enjoy my drinking. And once I start drinking, I cannot stop. And that, guys, right? In the doctor's opinion, right? That's what makes me an alcoholic, right? I have an abnormal reaction to alcohol. Again, not my causes and conditions, right? No matter how bad they are, no matter how bad they are, or how bad I want them to see, right? Because truth or false, right? Truth or false does not make me an alcoholic. My abnormal reaction, my mind and body, right? My body reacts differently than 90% of the population, right? 90%, I'm different. My mind, right? I'm obsessive. I obsess over this thing called alcohol, right? I want it. I can't put it down. I can't stop thinking about it, right? My obsession, right? And then my obsession that I can control and enjoy my drinking separates me, right? And I did not know. So you guys, again, I did all the things. I got all the benchmarks that we do, right? And again, I did not know what was wrong with me, because if you asked me, and people did, I'm not a real alcoholic. I am page 21. All that verbiage on there is me. My dad used to say to me, you are a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when you drink. You do insane things around alcohol. And then all the questions that are on page 20, why don't you just leave it alone? Why can't you put it down? You're such a sweet girl when you don't drink. Why don't you drink? If I could tell you, I would. Because again, jails, institutions, you guys, I crossed them all off the list. And I could not stop drinking, right? And like it says in the big book, all other areas of my life, right? All other areas of my life. This one was kicking my butt. I couldn't do anything about it, right? Couldn't do a thing about it. Left to my own devices, right? And I'm gonna pull your bootstraps up, get them done kind of gal. I always get what I want and I always get things done, not with alcohol, right? And Eric read a perfect paragraph. I was going to read it tonight. I was going to read that exact paragraph and now I don't have to, right? Thanks, God, right? Because that's how I showed up to you. At the age of 26, I grew up in Michigan. I grew up in a family. We grew up in music. It was fun. It was great. Parties looked fun. Alcohol looked great. I did a geographic off to the West Coast because wasn't it Michigan's fault? Wasn't it my parents' fault? Wasn't it the people that I was hanging around with fault? Moved out to San Francisco. Oh, wherever you go, there you are. There I was. Same stuff, same different town, same people, same stuff, right? Same consequences. Finally made it to where I am today, Gardnerville, Nevada, with my parents at the age of 26. Desperate, you guys, right? No job, no license, no life. Everyone around me seemed to have things going on. I didn't. People around me that I had grown up with. People asking me questions. What's wrong with you? Why can't you get this stuff together? Right? One more DUI. I'm end up with my family. My mom and dad say, you know what? Guess what, Steph? You're going to AA. I failed to mention I have a sister who's 13 years older than I am. She is an alcoholic as well. She ravaged our family. She ravaged it. I saw her do things that I couldn't even believe. She gave up her children over this disease. And what did I say? You guys all know what I said. I said, I'll never be like my sister. Guess what? I only turned out to be like my sister, only worse, right? Never say never. The yuts are upon us, right? So that's how I showed up to you guys. And I thank God that you were there. Thank God you were there. I showed up and you know where we are. We're at the most, sordid spots in town, aren't we? I mean, I show up, my parents drop me off. I show up at AA. It's in a warehouse in the industrial part of town. I open the front door, so it was at the time that we could smoke at the time of AA. I open the door, I can barely see, right? It's a noon meeting, right? A nooner, right? I'm 26 years old. I pop in, smoke billowing out, people drinking coffee, bunch of old guys my age now, right? I had no idea what I was walking into, you guys. I had no idea what the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous was going to do for me, right? Walked in there and I puked all over that meeting. I puked all over that meeting that day. I told them exactly what I thought I was there for, right? I told them why I was an alcoholic, right? Probably spent 45 minutes talking about, the stuff we're not supposed to talk about in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Our day, our lawnmower, our cats. But I was a newcomer and those people let me puke all over that meeting and they loved me. They loved me. And then they said, hey, here's a book. Here's, what? They let me puke all over them and then they related, right? They said, me too. Right? They told me things about Alcoholics Anonymous. They spoke about the things that I could understand at that moment. They met me where I was at, right? And then they gave me a big book. And then my life started. My life started to change, right? Because they said, hey, come back at night. The women are here. Women sponsor women. And then that's what we do here. So I didn't have much going on and I showed up. So I showed up and I got my sponsor and I got busy. And this is when my life changes, right? This is when the good stuff starts happening, right? This is the deal, okay? This is the stuff I didn't show up for. Because guess what? It's not about my drinking anymore, right? It's about my living. It's about my problems with personal relationships. It's about my character defects. It's about the fact that, I want to run the show, that I'm an actor, that I want to dictate, all these things that I have an ego that I don't even know I have, that I can't differentiate the truth from the false on most days, right? But guess what? There's a program for people like me. So guess what? I got busy. And guess what? I'm an overachiever. And our character defects can become our assets. You know what? I wanted to be the best little AA'er there was. You know what? And that came to that came to help me out so much. Right? I got busy. I got a sponsor. I picked her because she was pretty. I did. I picked her because she was pretty. No other reason. But thank God I had a grant sponsor that really was so avid in the book. Thumper, and so in love with God. I couldn't stand it. So in love with God. I was scared to talk to her, right? I was scared. I'd be like, I was afraid, right? Because I had so much fear about what people thought about me saying the wrong thing, wrapped up in myself 24/7. Oh, I got busy, right? And they saw that. So I got busy, right? That's step one, admitted myself, right? Powerless over alcohol. My life was unmanageable. Not really hard for me at 26, right? That wasn't a hard sell. I was powerless from the beginning over alcohol. I could see that distinctly. And my life was for sure unmanageable. I was 26 years old and I was living with my parents. Life was going on around me. I had no idea how to live it. No idea, right? That step two then came to believe. Thank God for that step. I love that step so much because it's progressive. Came to believe. It doesn't say, believe now. If it did, I wouldn't be here with you today. Came to believe. I get to do that on so many things today. I get to do that on so many things today. I get to come to believe on so many things because more things are revealed to me on the daily. The more I practice this program, the more it is revealed. I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Well, first of all, I had to believe that I was insane. I had people saying that all around me, right? Why are you drinking? Right? But my insanity is much deeper, but we'll get to that later, right? I mean, but yes. So, you know what? Came to believe that a power greater than myself. You know what? My spiritual experience, it started to happen then. My willingness to believe that something greater than myself could actually help me in this program, right? So having that willingness today in hindsight, isn't that where we see most of our spiritual experiences in hindsight, right? I started to see that. I got to see that I had a willingness to believe that my way wasn't the way, right? And then that number 3 step, right? Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. What broad and roomy verbiage around that, right? Again, thank God. Bill knew what he was doing. Well, God knew what he was doing, right? And Bill was just a vessel. And thank God he was. Right? Thank God he was available. That changed my life, that decision. And it continues to do so on the daily. That's the biggest fact in my life today. He is, right? He is. And I've come to believe even more because of the experiences that I've got to have. The dark nights, the dark packages, the things that have come to pass in my life that have brought me closer to God of my understanding, right? Those experiences that have brought me to rely, not just trust, but rely on my God, right? Made a decision. He is for me today. And you know what? I spent so many days looking around me, outside of me, grabbing here, grabbing there, grabbing everywhere. It was that page 55, one of my faves, right? Great reality within, always with me, never without, always within. And I know that to be a fact today. I know it. I've experienced it. And then those steps 4 and 5. Oh, again, thank God for those. That's like the red carpet for the rest of my life. Sets the tone, doesn't it? Right? Gets me to do what I get to do on the daily, right? I was able to see the world from a different point of view. I came in a victim. I came in blaming you. Don't you know? Don't you know? Told my sponsor all about it. Only to find out who the real avenger was, right? Who the real culprit was in my own story, the own manufacturer of my own misery on the daily, the person that sets the ball rolling, always. I didn't know. I came here to quit drinking. But a symptom, right? But a symptom. Grateful for that today. So grateful. It's designed for living is amazing, right? So, and then that step 5, I get to just show it up, show it up with God, somebody else, and myself, all of us together, I get to share that. I get to share it all. Level the playing field. I'm out of isolation, right? Shoulder to shoulder now. and beautiful. And I'm here to tell you right now, I gave my fifth step, but the more beautiful part of the fifth step is receiving one. And I've got to do that too. And if nothing levels the playing field, like hearing somebody else's fifth step and seeing yourself in the lives of others and how, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you haven't done it, I suggest that you get busy, right? Don't miss out. Don't miss the boat. So I share this, right? I level the playing field, right? I'm out of isolation. I look those fifth step promises. I know you heard them because Big shared about them, right? I can look the world in the eye. I have the feeling that the drink problem might be removed. What? That's why I showed up. But so many other things have come to pass in my life thus far, right? So many other things. Right? And then that 6 and 7, right? That willingness to have God remove my defects of character because now I know that I got them. Right now I know that I got them. I know I can't work on them because everything I've worked on I've made worse. So I ask God to get rid of them, right? When he wants to. Right? I'm willing today. I know that it's not my time. It's God's time. Impatience, right? Impatience is one of my biggest character defects, right? I want it now. But you know what? Some of the stuff that I've received now, I'd like to return quickly, right? So really, God's time. God's time. So, and then I get to go out into 8 and 9. I get to go out into the world. I get to go out into the world. And these are beautiful, right? These are so beautiful, these amends that I didn't even know I had to make. Right? Because that step 4, don't burn it. Don't you burn it. I know you want to, but guess what? We're coming back around because we're going back out. We're going to make amends. And that's a life-changing event, right? Those 9-step promises, the promises. There's so many promises in this book, but those 9 steps, right? Painstaking. Yes, they are. But you know what? The results are amazing, right? Before we're halfway through, it tells us. And they are. Right? Because the freedom comes and it's not for me. I thought it was for me. I always think it's for me. Thanks, Eric. I always think it's for me. I have 30 minutes, correct? Thank you. I always think it's for me, right? Those amends. But the most beautiful amends that I've made, right? When I get to say to that person, you know, tell me a little bit about what I've done, right? And then I'm quiet and I'm humble. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes they're like, whatever, I like those. And sometimes, but the more impactful ones, right, are the ones that we get to sit through and we get to listen to how we've impacted others. How we've impacted others. Because I am going to read a little snippet. Because I didn't know how we impact others, right? Page 18, it's my fave, right? It's just a constant reminder for me, right? How I affect others, right? It says, this is alcoholism, you guys. It's talking about alcoholism. It says, it engulfs all whose lives touch the sufferers. Everybody that touches me, that comes into contact with me. That's pretty powerful business, isn't it? It brings misunderstanding, fierce resentment, financial insecurity, disgusted friends and employers, warped lives of blameless children, sad wives and parents. Anyone can add to the list ad infinitum. Ad infinitum. So again, 8 and 9, I get to go out and connect myself, right? I get to go and play with you guys. I get to go make amends for all the harms that I've done to others, right? And it's a wake-up call. And again, setting the tone, because guess what? Giddy up, kids, 10, 11, and 12, right? It's where we get to live. It's where we get to dance today. It's where we get to do our deals, right? And it's a beautiful, beautiful place to live, right? That 10 wraps it all up, right? Wraps it up, all up. I get to take inventory when, guys? All through the day, not at night, all through the day. All through the day. Why would I want to wait until the evening? Oh my God. I'd be freaking, the amends I'd have to make. Oh my God, no. All through the day. Right? All through the day. I get to ask God. I get to talk to God because he's with me. You know what? My prayer is not pomp and circumstance, guys. Talk to God like he's my friend. He is. It says he is. It says in the book, like he's my friend. He is my friend. All through the day. Talk to him. I need him. I have to have him, guys. I have to have him. I've seen that in my life today. So that 10, right? What does it say? It says it's easier for us to, I'm not going to read it because I don't have time. I need to keep talking, right? It's easy for us to rest on our laurels, right? It's easy for us to rest on our laurels. I'd love to tell you guys that I stayed here at 26 years of age, right? I got some time, right? I did. Got some things. I met a man, my husband, met a man. The promises came to pass, right, in my life, right? My life started lifing. My life started getting good, right? But I failed, right? Failed to continue, right? To maintain, right? To maintain my spiritual life, right? I continued, I did not continue, right? And I failed, but I didn't know. Because when I left you, this is what it looked like. When I left you, it looked like you guys start talking about the book, you're talking about your lawnmowers. You guys are smoking in the meeting. I'm pregnant now. I got this. I'm not drinking on the daily. I'm pretty spiritually sound. I'm talking to my God on the daily. I left you guys to walk up Job's Peak, walk up mountains, to have babies, to live a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm here to tell you, it's not what happened, because I failed to enlarge and perfect my spiritual life, right? I did not maintain. I did not grow my spiritual life. I did not put God at the forefront. I did no service, right? And TikTok, I drank. Didn't drink the first night, didn't drink the second, right? I mean, it took over time, right? It's cunning, baffling, and powerful, right? This is how it happens. And I drank again. And I achieved the incomprehensible demoralization that we only think and feel about, right? I had children this time. I had a husband. I had people in my life that, you know, the wreckage that I caused for these people, right? I wish I could say that I didn't, but I did. And I don't want to hear to say, I'm not here to co-sign that relapse is part of everybody's story, but it's part of mine, right? And I came back to you, right? A different lady. And I came back to you out of spite, really. Big came to you first, right? He came to you first. I came to you because I saw AA working in his life again. I saw the power of God light up his eyes and his life. And I was jealous. That's why I came back to you. That's why I came back to you. So whatever the reason, came back to you and my life started again. I was reborn and in a better way, right? And thank God, because God showed up. Because you know what? Here's what my life is about now, okay? I had some things come to pass in my life. My recovery is different than my first recovery. It really, really is. It's richer, deeper, bolder. It's more, I mean, it's so much more. And it's thanks to Zoom, you guys. It really, really is. The pandemic was wonderful for me. For this, right? I mean, it really opened up my recovery. Really, it showed me what the solution was and what it could be, right? That we can have contentment in our lives, regardless of our present circumstances. And thank God. Because 2020 brought a slot of things that I never thought that I would endure without drinking, right? So thank goodness I showed back up at AA. I lost my job of 20 years in 2020. 2020, my boss stole $17,000 from me, $17,000. Then the pandemic hit, right? Then the pandemic hit. And thank God Big was a service junkie, because guess what happened? We started a daily reflections meeting at 8 o'clock every morning in our home, every single morning. And I know now that God shows up, because both my parents passed in the next couple months, back to back. Loss of job, loss of parents, gain of AA, drawing closer to God, right? God's dark packages, right? I always say, you know, his gifts come in dark boxes, right? Because I'm here to tell you, the relationship that I have with my God and my understanding today is completely different than the God that I walked in. Right? And that pain and that suffering, right, has helped me to draw closer to God, has taught me to trust and rely upon my God, right? Because I see him afoot in my life, right? I see him afoot in my life. These things were impossibilities for me. These things are impossibilities for me. And I'm not here to tell you that every day was beautiful, because it wasn't. Talk to my husband, ask my kids. But I had a program. A design for living, so I could be awake and aware around my responsibilities, my actions. I had a God of my own understanding to turn to when nobody else was available. Not available, but you know what I mean? Nobody could touch it. Nobody could fix it. Only God could. He were sought. And I was a seeker. I was a seeker. So God showed up. He was afoot in the room all through COVID, man. We ran this meeting and God was afoot. And then it broke open even more, right? Even more. And there were so many rooms on Zoom and big. My lovely husband found some wonderful people. People that now I call family, right? The language of the heart, people that were speaking solution, right? People that I could show up with and talk about God, that weren't embarrassed about God, weren't shunning away like the book says, right? We're leading with God. We're leading with the solution. Weren't mincing words, right? We're saying, God, get busy, people, right? Get into action, right? Those steps are where it's at, right? We can't rest on our laurels. I'm passionate about this program because it saved my life. It saved my husband's life. I see people, I have a sponsee on this meeting tonight. It's saving her life. From the time that I have met her until now, the transformation that God has brought about, God that I've seen in her life, the way that she's spoken, the God that I've seen afoot in her life, the fifth step that she shared with me about her, allowed me to see me for who I was, right? So beautiful, these things, right? And again, if I would have just stuck to the notion that I came here to quit drinking, I would have sold myself so short. Sobriety, guys. Sobriety. So much more. I'm here for recovery, right? I'm here for recovery. I stay for recovery, for those spiritual experiences, right? For that growth on the daily, right? For the change. The changes, right? I know today, right? I do not want to stay the same person I am. And when that uncomfortability comes, because it comes, because I'm human. And like Carol was talking about, I'm in a groove, guys. I've got so many years of old truths, old ideas, old ways of thinking that I'm right from the show, thinking that I know the deal. It's gonna take some time. Guess what? A lifetime, it says. And I have one. I'm here for it. I wasn't when I showed up. I was Bill. I was in that cesspool of self-pity. I was sitting on the edge of my bed at 2 a.m. wanting to die. Day in, day out was Groundhog Day for me. I couldn't get off the hamster wheel. I wanted to die. Today, I want to live. I want to live a big, bold, beautiful life. I want to tell you all about it. I want to let you know that AA is here. I want to hold up the tent, right? That's why I want traditions, right? Get me started. Mike L., where are you? Grow in effectiveness and understanding, right? That's step 12 today. That's step 12, which I didn't want any part of. I'm going to get mine and I'm hopping off the bus, right? I'm not going to reach my arm out. Like, what is that one? Arm across. Yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. Because you know what? That 12 step is the most beautiful part of this program, right? It's the most beautiful part of this program to see the light comes on in other people's eyes today. the lights come on in other people's eyes, to know what a beautiful thing to have the power within us to save lives, only us. That's why that primary purpose, right? I got to know who I'm talking to, because that's who I'm speaking to. That's who spoke to me. What was Carol talking about? That frothy emotional appeal? People came at me left and right. Left and right. Who was the only person that reached me? You. You guys. You. So that's my superpower today. What? I'm going to save it for me, hold it like a piece of coal in my pocket. How selfish and self-centered and self-seeking. No, you know what? The joy comes from giving. It's such a paradox of this program, right? I didn't show up for that. I showed up for me. I showed up to quit drinking. Certainly did not show up for any of this. I didn't show up for God. Didn't show up to carry a message, depth and weight of hope. None of it, right? None of it. But here I sit today with you, blessed beyond belief, right? Blessed with a higher power, greater than myself, that morphs and shifts and changes on the daily, right? He is what he needs me, what I need him to be on the daily. So you guys, with that, how much time do I even set my timer? Eric, how much time do I have left?
5, 4,
That's-
3.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, you guys. And with that, you know what? I'm so grateful to be here tonight. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to speak with you this evening. And again, thank you. Thank you. Last member of Alcoholics Anonymous.